Welcome again to Let's Talk Science with Pastor Dan. And I moved out of the back of the house. The computer got too hot and shut down. So I'm in my backyard. And I want to tell another testimony that I can trust and that I can share. Of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those kinds of things. When I go into jail, I tell a lot of stories from my personal experience. I give my testimony because my testimony is the strongest impact of what Jesus has done for me and the things that I know that he's real. I have one testimony that I can also share that helps me understand the heart of God. I've mentioned before that I have 3 children, Adam, Seth, and Joy. And when Seth was born, he threw seizures. He was up to 35 seizures a day. One time, the worst seizure he had was called bilateral, which means that one side of his face was seizing, the other side wasn't. And so he's literally awake on the other side, and he was looking at me like, "Daddy, what's going on?" Now, because of the process, Seth doesn't communicate, and he didn't have language. And so we didn't really have a conversation. I didn't have my first conversation with Seth till he was 7, when he learned sign language and will understand it. And we were taught it enough that I could communicate with him. I remember we were driving back from the school where he was learning, and he explained to me what he wanted, and I understood, and he understood, and I had to pull the car over because I broke down. I was talking to my son. He's 7 years old. Well, before this, so Seth has no actual language. We were testing him for seizures. And one of the ways that you test people for seizures is you have to induce a seizure. And so you show him flashing lights. And because he couldn't understand, they would bind him up. They would not bind him up, but they would wrap him up in a blanket so he couldn't move. So he would literally be forced to look one way. And when he was little, Seth really hated you touching his head. It would really freak him out. So they were getting him all set. They were putting the probes for the the EEG on his head, not EKG, EEG. And he wasn't having it. He was just totally upset, kicking and screaming, yelling. So the nurse looks at me and said, "Dad, we need your help." So I literally had to hold him down as they wrapped him up and held him tight and put all those probes on his head. And he was literally looking me eye to eye, face to face, and in his eyes, he had no words to communicate with me, but I could see the look of complete betrayal. "Daddy, what are you doing to me? Daddy, this isn't right. Why? Why are you doing this?" And I knew I had no way to tell him. I had no way to share with him that we had to go through this together. Sorry. And in that moment, when I was grieving through this, God spoke to my spirit and said, "That's how I feel." There are so many times that the Father isn't able to explain to us why things happen. Bad things happen. And God doesn't cause bad things to happen. All things work together for good. Not all things we go through are good, but he allows them in this world, and it's hard, and I don't have explanations. And if you would put comments, "Well, why did this happen?" I don't know. And a lot of those things, because of the will of man, those aren't God's perfect will for our lives. But when we go through them, God promises that he'll be with us, that he is there with us, the same as I was with my son. As he went through that stressful thing, he is never going to leave us. He will always be with us. He's always there for us. God loves you. God has a purpose for you. In the midst of our greatest pain, he will never leave our side. So that's a story that I know, that I went through, that I can experience. I can tell the heart of the Father is to care for you. And bad things aren't God's will always. But in the midst of them, he's there. And he will use them and bring out the best for your life as you trust him and see what he has. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Take care. God bless.